Hello, and welcome back to the Take 10 podcast. This show is where we're going to explore mental health, mental well-being, and all the ways that we can take care of our minds. I'm Ryan, and I'm so glad to be here with you today. Thank you for being here. We took a little bit of a break from last year, and I apologize about that. I was finding that I was trying to be a little bit too much of a perfectionist and wanted each episode to just be 100% perfect before I sent it out. And I couldn't achieve that. And so episodes didn't come out. But I've worked through that a little bit and have a plan in place for the upcoming year where I've utilized, generative AI to help me with an outline of 52 weeks worth of topics, and am also utilizing AI to help with some of the outlines. And so, not that that's going to help with the perfectionism part of it, but it's going to help with the planning and knowing what I'm hopefully going to say moving into each of the topics. So anyways, that's a little bit about where we've been and where we are here. I hope that you're having a good start to your 2025. And just again, thank you so much for being here. This episode is an important one because we're going to talk about the differences between mental health and mental well-being. And the topic is a good one because there's a distinction that isn't always clear between mental health and mental well-being. But having an understanding between those two can make a big difference in how we approach caring for either ourselves and or supporting those that we love. So whether you're navigating your own mental health challenges, or if you're trying to improve your overall well-being, or if you're supporting somebody on their journey, I hope there's something here for you today. So before we dive in, I just want you to know that this episode, or it's intended that this episode isn't just about information. I hope that we provide some action for you to implement into your life or the life of somebody that you know. So stick around until the end. We're going to share a simple weekly challenge to help you apply what you've learned. Plus, we'll give you a chance to join an audience poll. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get started? So what is mental health? Mental health really is the foundation of how we think, how we feel, and how we act. Mental health refers to the state of our psychological and our emotional well-being, and it's closely tied to how well our brain and our nervous systems function. Mental health includes a really wide range of factors, from our ability to handle stress, to maintaining relationships, and even making decisions. It also includes whether we're dealing and how we're dealing with mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, or post-traumatic stress disorder. So I like to think of mental health as maybe the internal workings of our mind. It's the gears and the mechanisms that keep it running. And sometimes when these gears get out of sync, it can lead to a significant challenge that requires either attention and or care. Mental health really isn't about avoiding illnesses. It's about creating a state where your mind is functioning at its best. So that could involve therapy, it could involve medication, and it could also include other treatments if you're managing a condition that's already been diagnosed. So now that we have a base level understanding of mental health, let's talk a little bit about mental well-being. And, mental well-being, on the other hand, is really more about how you experience or perceive your life. Mental well being is about feeling balanced, fulfilled, and connected. Mental well being reflects your ability to manage your emotions, to find purpose, and even enjoy meaningful relationships. Unlike mental health, though, which is often focused on addressing problems or conditions, mental well being emphasizes the positive aspects of life. It's about thriving, not just surviving. So you could think of mental well being as the quality of the journey that you're on. Whether you're finding joy in the little moments, handling challenges with resilience, and living in alignment with your own values. But there's a key. While mental health and mental well-being aren't the same thing, they really are deeply connected. So let's unpack some of the similarities and the differences between the two concepts. Mental health and mental well-being both contribute to our overall quality of life. When one improves, it often positively impacts the other. So, for example, managing a mental health condition like anxiety can make it easier to experience mental well-being, like feeling calm and present in your everyday life. On the other hand, focusing on your mental well-being and mental well-being practices such as mindfulness or gratitude can support better mental health over time. So while there are similarities, there are also key differences as well. Mental health is more about the structural and functional aspects of the mind, like whether we're facing conditions that need medical or therapeutic support. But mental well being, on the other hand, is about the emotional and experiential aspects of life. So we're talking about how satisfied or engaged we feel in the present day or in the present moment. And I know that this can be a little bit confusing, so let's make this a little bit more practical and use an example. Let's think about mental health and mental well-being kind of like a car and the journey that the car takes. Mental health is the car itself. Its engine, the tires, and the overall condition. Mental health represents the foundational elements that keep the car functioning. If the engine is faulty, if the tires are worn out, or if the fuel tank is empty, the car won't run properly, if at all. Similarly, mental health refers to the state of your mind, including how well it's functioning, whether it's dealing with challenges like anxiety, depression, or other disorders, and whether it's getting the care it needs to stay in working order. On the other hand, mental well-being is like the road trip that you take with that car. It's the quality of the journey, how smooth or bumpy the ride is, whether you're enjoying the scenery, and how you feel as you travel. Mental well-being is about your sense of purpose, fulfillment, and balance in life. It reflects how you experience life on an emotional, psychological, and social level, even if the car occasionally needs a tune-up. You can have a perfectly functioning car but still have a stressful or unpleasant road trip if the route is poorly planned, if the weather is bad, or unfortunately if you get lost. That's like having that's like having good mental health but struggling with your mental well-being, feeling disconnected, overwhelmed, or unsatisfied despite having no mental health condition diagnosed. On the flip side, if the car is in bad shape, let's say the engine light is on, maybe the brakes are failing, it's going to be really hard to have a good trip, no matter how beautiful the scenery is. This would be like struggling with poor mental health, where the underlying challenges make it difficult to experience well-being, even if you're doing your best to maintain a positive outlook. Both mental health and mental well-being are interconnected. So, a well-maintained car makes the journey smoother, and a good road trip motivates you to keep your car in shape. Taking care of both is essential. whether that's through therapy and medication for your mental health, or through self-care, meaningful relationships, and mindfulness for your well-being. We need to take care of both our mental well-being and our mental health to have a fulfilling life, or to make life more enjoyable. So as we explore these topics throughout the year, think about your own car and the journey that you're on. Are you taking care of the vehicle? Are you making time to enjoy the ride? Because both are equally important, and together they create a balanced life. So we talk about these things, but why does understanding the differences between mental health and mental well-being matter? Excuse me. First, it helps us to see that mental health isn't just about avoiding illness, it's about building strength. And at the same time, mental well-being helps remind us to look beyond survival and focus on thriving. When we pay attention to both mental health and mental well-being, we create a more balanced and fulfilling life. And that's not just good for us, it's good for our relationships, our communities, and even our future selves. So even small changes can really have a big impact. And that brings us to our next portion of today's episode, which are some practical tips for improving both your mental health and mental well-being. So I want to share 3 simple, actionable steps that can help you focus on both mental health and mental well-being this week. Number 1, I want you to prioritize self-awareness. Self-awareness is essential because it acts as the foundation for understanding and improving mental health and mental well-being. And here's why. 1, self-awareness helps you identify when something feels off, recognizing your needs. For example, if you're more irritable or fatigued than usual, self-awareness can alert you to check in with your mental health. It helps you understand triggers. When you know that a situation or patterns negatively affect you, you can proactively manage or avoid them. This is especially helpful for conditions like anxiety, depression, or stress. When you know what may cause a certain trigger, you can proactively manage it or actively avoid them. You can, prioritize. Self-awareness can also help build resilience. Awareness of your thoughts and feelings allows you to respond rather than react. You can catch negative thought spirals or unhelpful behaviors early, giving you the opportunity to reframe or redirect them. It can help you improve relationships. Self-awareness allows you to communicate your needs and your feelings more effectively. This strengthens connections with others and fosters a healthier support system. And it can encourage growth. It provides insight into areas where you might need to grow or make changes, whether through setting boundaries, practicing self-care, or seeking professional support. So we know that self-awareness is important, but how can we cultivate self-awareness so that when we're put into one of these situations, we can recognize it and take action to help us better overcome? First is we can journal. Second is mindfulness and meditation. So spend a few minutes each day focusing on your breath or observing your thoughts without judgment. Mindfulness can really teach you to be present and tune into what's happening internally. And going back to journaling, one of the important aspects of journaling is that over time, you can identify if patterns emerge, which will help you better understand kind of what's happening emotionally and in your mental state. So it's a way to go back and see and then identify trends. Number 3 is just to check in regularly. And this would be like asking yourself a few simple questions like, how am I feeling today? What has been on my mind? And what's something that I might need right now? As you do this habit really helps you stay in touch with your needs. 4 is to seek feedback. Sometimes others see what you might not. So Others can provide valuable insights into your behaviors or actions. Fifth would be maybe tracking your mood. Um, there are apps out there. You could also incorporate this into your journaling and see how you feel throughout the day. And then you could look back and look for potential triggers or trends again. And then lastly, what I would mention is practice self compassion. Self awareness is really most effective when it's paired with self compassion. So be kind to yourself when you uncover difficult emotions or habits. It's part of our growth. So as we focus on self awareness, it's like developing a personal GPS for our mental health and our mental well being. It can help us navigate challenges, allow us to celebrate victories, which is important, and stay on a path that aligns with your needs and your values. So as you do this, you're investing in a deeper understanding of yourself, and you create a strong foundation for a healthier, more fulfilling life. The second step that I would encourage you to take this week is to build daily routines. As we establish a daily routine, it's a powerful way for us to support our mental health and mental well-being because routines really provide structure and consistency and a sense of control. And here's why that matters. One, it can create stability in uncertainty. As we know, life can be unpredictable, but a daily routine gives you something consistent to rely on. And as you have this consistent routine and stability, it can help you reduce stress and anxiety, which offers a sense of safety. Two, it supports mental health conditions. For those that are managing mental health challenges like depression or anxiety, routines can help break cycles of inactivity. They can boost motivation and provide small, achievable goals throughout the day. Three, it improves sleep and energy levels. So routines that include consistent sleep and wake times regularly or regulate your circadian rhythm, which helps improve both mental clarity and emotional resilience. Four, it enhances productivity and focus. A structured day reduces decision fatigue, what I need to do and what decisions I need to make, which allows you to focus on your energy on tasks that have more matter to your day without feeling overwhelmed. It promotes self-care. Routines make it easier to prioritize activities like exercise, eating healthy, and relaxation, all of which are essential for maintaining our mental well-being. And then lastly, it helps reinforce purpose and achievement. I don't know about you, but for me, completing small daily tasks can really provide a sense of accomplishment, which helps my self-esteem and reinforces a sense of purpose. I like checking things off a box, right? So for those of you that don't have a daily routine, some things to consider as you build and maintain those daily routines is one, start small. Focus on 1 to 2 key habits at a time, like waking up at the same time each day, or drinking water first thing in the morning. And then once you've established 1 or 2 daily habits, you can then build from there. 2 is prioritize, as you're thinking about a daily routine, prioritize your morning routine, and your evening routine. So a morning routine could include a calm, intentional start to your day and can really set the tone for everything that follows. So think about including things like stretching or journaling, or even having something like a mindful breakfast. And then in the evening, as you have a consistent wind down routine, it can really help improve your sleep. So this might include reading, meditating, or setting aside time to reflect on the day. We can get into this in a later episode, but screen time is not ideal for sleep routines. we'll talk more about that. But reading, meditating, or reflection are really the key things there. Number three is look to incorporate activities for mental well-being during your day. This could be physical activity, mindful practices, which are just like setting time aside for some meditation, deep breathing, or journaling, as well as creative outlets. So find a hobby that you really like to do. It could be painting or cooking, or maybe you're a writer and you want to write a book. These things will help boost your mood and provide some relaxation as well. Make sure that you're scheduling breaks as you're building this daily routine as well. You need you time because these breaks will allow your mind to rest. It'll allow your mind to recharge. And both of those things help prevent burnout, which we definitely don't want to do. Be flexible and adaptable as you're creating these routines. Know that life happens and some days are just not going to go as planned, and that's okay. So build routines that are realistic and adaptable, and don't be too hard on yourself if you miss a day or if the day doesn't go quite as planned. And lastly, as you're building these routines, reflect and adjust regularly. From time to time, review how your routine is going, and ask yourself if your habits are serving your mental health and your mental well-being. And if something's not working, that's okay. You're not a failure. Just look to tweak it and move it to better suit your needs. All right. And lastly, the third takeaway that I'd love for you guys to do this week is to seek some connection. I don't know that I would have agreed with this a little while ago, but human beings really are social creatures, and our mental health is influenced by the quality of the relationships and social interactions that we have in our life. So you can still be introverted and still have good relationships and social interactions. So look to establish and maintain connections with others that can enhance your mental well-being. And we can do it in a few ways. One, look for those that will provide emotional support. So engaging with, friends or family or even support groups provide a platform to share experiences, to express feelings, and to receive empathy and understanding for our situation. This emotional exchange can alleviate feelings of loneliness and depression. It helps with stress reduction as well. So social interactions can act as a buffer against stress. As we discuss challenges with others, it often leads to new perspectives and solutions. And when that happens, oftentimes it can also reduce the burden of stress. Social connection can also help enhance our self-worth. Being a part of a community or a social circle fosters a sense of belonging and purpose, which can really boost our self-esteem and overall satisfaction with how our life is going. There are also cognitive and behavioral benefits as well. So from a cognitive standpoint, social engagement stimulates the mind, which could potentially delay cognitive decline, and improves mental agility. And then from a behavioral standpoint, social networks can encourage good behaviors like exercise, nutrition, and stuff like that. So some ways that you can build your social connections are things like joining a community group, volunteering, reconnecting with existing contacts, engage in online communities. That was one that came up in some of the research. For me, that's probably not one. It seems like some of those online communities are so argumentative and opinion based that I feel not as great after being engaged in some of that than I did before. So be careful, right? And I guess that really also goes to speaking to some of these things that we're talking about may work for some and not others, right? And so if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. Just because we're talking about it does not mean that you need to continue engaging in any of these activities. So try it out. If it works for you, awesome. If it doesn't, that's also okay too. I really like this one. It's practice active listening. So when we're interacting with others, like show genuine interest in their thoughts and feelings, and as we actively listen, it fosters deeper connections and builds mutual respect among people. And then also, as we go through all these, just be open to new experiences. So trying new activities that you might otherwise not have done previously can introduce you to diverse groups of people, and it can expand your social network. As an example, about a year ago when I moved to Utah, I got an invite from my parents to play Tuesday night pickleball. Not something that I typically had done. And when I showed up, it was a group that I typically, outside of being invited to this group, probably would not have met them. And it's actually been really great. I've expanded some of my social networks to people that I otherwise would not have, and it's been a lot of fun. So be open to new experiences. So just invest some time and effort into building and maintaining social connections, because it really is a vital component of our mental health and our mental well-being. Having those connections can really help provide emotional support, which can help reduce stress and contribute to a sense of belonging and purpose, which is something we can all use. So I want you to do those three things this week, which is, I really want you to prioritize your self-awareness. I want you to build or improve on your daily routines and to seek connection through social relationships. So as you do those three things this week, I'd also like for you to choose one of those, specifically one of those three things, and tell me how it goes for you this week. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. The key is consistently doing one of those three things. And then as the week progresses, add a comment to one of the socials, whether you're listening on one of the podcast avenues, put a comment in there, or whether it be on one of the social medias, how it is going or how it went for you. So before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. So we got a quick audience poll, and I want you to input your comments here. And the question is, do you feel that there's a difference between mental health and mental well-being? And where and what areas do you focus most on? Are you focusing more on mental health, on mental well-being, on both of them equally? Or, and this is an appropriate answer, is that you're not sure because you haven't thought about it too much, which is perfectly okay. So I'd love to hear your answer there. So vote wherever you're listening, or send me a note and we'll share some of the results in next week's episode. So that is it for today's episode. Thank you again for being here. I hope this conversation has helped you better understand not only the differences, but some of the similarities between mental health and mental well-being, and why both of them matter so much. As we think about our journey, I hope that you remember that small and consistent efforts add up over time. And as we build up small and consistent efforts over time, when we look back, we're going to see just how far we've come. So anyways, again, thank you for being part of this community. I can't wait to hear about your experiences, and to share some of the results on next week's Take 10 podcast episode. As you go about your day, as you go about your week, as you go about this new year, I hope that you continue to choose to do, to be, and to inspire good in all that you do. Until next time, take care of both yourself and your mind. Good night.